Hey guys, this is Meek and Russ, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today we are talking about breakups. This is the breakup episode. We're talking about just how to handle them, how we have handled them, and what makes breaking up so hard to do. So, Meek, first, let me start off by asking you, have you ever had like a clean getaway, good breakup where like y'all broke up and it was just like mutual, like no heartache from either party. Nobody was angry or sad or disgruntled. Like both of y'all walked away, like, yeah, no, this is what we needed to do.
Yes, I did. I mean, it was a little bit of crying after I got off the phone, but it was a mutual thing, and I moved on pretty swiftly. I think they did too. So it was just easy. I think we were both feeling a pull away from each other, and then we both acknowledged and agreed, like, yeah, this isn't working anymore. But I'm a Pisces, so everything makes me sad. But I cried and I let it go that day, and I don't think I really thought about it again after. Be honest, at that point, because we made up to break up a lot, but at that point, I knew it was time to call it quits. So it was pretty easy.
Now, what about a bad breakup? Like horrible.
So I guess I went through that too. I know I wasn't ready to break up per se, but I kind of did it trying to get the person to step up, but it backfired.
Mhm,
So that was very bad for me. It like made me emotionally unavailable.
mhm.
Like I would date and talk to other people, but I was never really there. And it took me years, not even just 1, 2 years, and more than it took me a while to like finally be happy with someone else after that relationship. Because in the back of my head, I always still wanted to be with that person. I tried everything to get back with that person, but he wasn't feeling it, and he denied every chance he could. So it took me a while to get over that breakup.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you ever had a good one? A good breakup?
Uh, have I ever had a good breakup? Good for me, probably. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever had, I
Like
don't
clean
know.
cut.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had a full clean cut because, in the past, like I legit was just like, I don't want this anymore. And sometimes I wouldn't have the discussion. Like they would just find out they blocked. So it was clean for me. Was it clean for them? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I apologize to you, men. I wish y'all the best. I hope you guys are all happy and prospering. But one where like both sides were aware like it's ending and we both were just like, yeah, this is what needs to happen. And we just kind of like
Mhm.
mutually agreed and had a mature conversation like adult, kind of. It wasn't so much that like we both agreed, but we had the conversation and he disagreed, but like he let me walk away and there was like no arguing, there was no fighting. He laid out like why he disagreed and I was like, yeah, I'm still in this though. And he was like, okay, I respect that. And like that was it. Every now and then he'll find me on social media. Like every 3 years he'll pop up because we dated when I was like 20. And he'll do a check and like, hey, how you been? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? And he'll, catch me up and then we like disappear from each other's life and go on. And then he'll find me on whatever the new social media platform is, 3 years later. So I feel like that one was kind of a clean one. Like, even though it wasn't like we both mutually agreed, it was like no drama, no BS. Nobody cried as far as I know. Nobody was like, I curse you with any man that dates you. Like, it was nothing like that. Like, we both were kind of like, all right, well, I guess it's played its course. And, there was no animosity from any party.
Yeah. I mean, at least, yeah, it wasn't animosity. He
Yeah.
still probably wanted to be with you, but at least it wasn't animosity that you know of, you know?
You know what though? That was one situation where I felt like he just wanted to be with somebody, and as long as you was a person that checked off certain, check marks, it didn't matter. And I remember like saying something similar to that when we broke up, being like, "I don't even know if you know what you're looking for. I think you're just looking for a person."
Yeah.
And yeah, and for me, I was just like, and like I'm looking for more, and we do not click. And I feel like you should be picking up on the fact that we do not click. And they disagreed, but I was just like, I mean, okay, okay,
You can disagree, but it's just like that type of person that's irritating. Like I just
hmm
might, yeah, you can tell when you just fit all the check marks, or I don't know, you just have a lot to offer and they just want somebody to fit their little box so they could just go ahead and get married or something. And you can tell
Yeah.
genuine, like you can tell, like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think you could definitely tell when it's genuine or not. Like, I feel like I have definitely dated somebody where like genuine Disney fairy tale type feelings were happening, like
Mm-hmm.
where you kissed and it was really like, did the earth just move? It really was like sparkles were falling around you guys when you held hands type feeling. Like I've had that type of experience. And so when I'm dating and I feel anything less than that, I'm so unimpressed. I'm just like, nah, I know I'm capable of like meeting a person and experiencing magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the same magic. And you have to know the same magic. It's always really weird to me when you meet somebody and they really, really, really like you, and you're like, I am putting in bare minimal effort. There's no way you can feel a connection, and they insist that they do. It's always so awkward to me.
Yeah, it's like a force. Like it's so forced. Like you
Yeah.
know, this is not a connection. Like I don't know. It's
Yeah. And it's just kind of this moment of like, I know you not feeling like, because even as a woman, like I definitely have had crushes on people and like went out and like as much as I like wanted to like them, as much as I'm like, oh, he's my type, as much as he makes me laugh, I have been able to tell, like, you know what? This ain't it. Or even sometimes like just being able to tell their levels is not matching my level of like how much I'm into this. And I don't understand how you can feel that and not back away,
mm-hmm.
because I have definitely have experienced dating experiences where I'm clearly not into it and I vocalized I'm not into it and they just insist that we still keep doing this.
We're so perfect, and yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on here? Why? Let's check your emotional intelligence levels, because this how are these women out here treating you, boo? Because I'm concerned that you think this level is like, yay, okay.
On top notch, and we're meant to be together, and we're not. We're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, I have experienced bad breakups. I have definitely, definitely, definitely experienced bad breakups. Some I don't think I'm legally allowed to talk about, but I've had others
Oh my.
where I feel like it's safe for me to talk about, where, yeah, it was just bad. It was just really, really bad. I had an experience where like, yeah, I don't think I can get into that online. We're not that type of show, so I can't even get into that one. Um,
Wow. Do I know about this stuff? Like,
mhm.
girl.
Oh, about the stuff. I'm not sure if I've told you about what I was about to say, but you know
Okay.
about the person. I'm trying to think if there's other stuff about that particular breakup that I can talk about. Oh, but yeah, I know. Like, I had a breakup where like I was dating this guy. And, to this day, that's the only person like I legit hate. Like I legit hate. Like I don't have hate in my heart for most people. Like I don't have a lot of energy for it. I don't have a lot of like I'm horrible with memory, but with that particular situation, ending that situation, like I literally walked away with some like, bro, I wouldn't spit on you if you were on the fire. Like I legit walked away with that type of anger. And I've never had that. And it's crazy because, like, I feel like if I were to list things that have happened to me in relationships, I definitely feel like I've had some situations that were worse. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it was just a matter of like how certain things went down on an emotional level that I was just like, nah, because I feel like you legit changed the way I looked at certain things in love. You legit changed the way I function. Um, like you create a whole PTSD around certain things. So that one I would say was definitely the worst, because like I shut down for a while. I like shut down after that situation. Like
You say you thought it was on purpose though?
I wouldn't say some of the things they did was on purpose per se, but I felt like when we met, I definitely was like not looking for love. I was not looking for a relationship. I was not looking for anything serious. told them that, and they insisted and they pursued it so insistently, and they were so aggressive with like, no, this is what this is what, they were so aggressive with like, you know, like, meet my friends, mom, rest is here, mom, certain things that you legit did not have to do, especially after I had made it clear. So to insistently do that, knowing you was on some BS, when I had made it clear, like, yo, we don't even have to, like, I'm good. That's not what I am. That's not even what I'm here for. That's the part that felt purposeful. Now, did they purposely like try to hurt me or make me mad or even push me to the point that I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with you? Probably not. But I do think they intentionally tried to almost like love bomb me. I think they intentionally love bomb me.
But love bomb you to take it away. And I didn't ever know the intentions.
Oh, to this day, I have no idea what the intentions were behind any of that.
Why are you doing so much? But yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, I think what really, really pissed me off about the situation that made that particular situation so much worse is they hit on triggers that I didn't even realize I had. And they hit on some very deep emotional triggers that I'm sure in little ways came up in other relationships, but it was like hammer on the needle, like pinpointed, like I couldn't ignore it type of way. Like literally ended shit with them and called it and enrolled in therapy like the next week. So I was like, yeah, nah. So for me, that one was particularly bad. We're not going to talk about what I did afterwards. It's not important. It was bad on his side too. I did not handle that as an emotionally mature adult, and I admit that. In my defense, my feelings was hurt. Yeah, we don't need to talk about all that part. So yes, I've definitely had breakups that were bad and like hurt. So, okay, but let's talk about what makes it so hard to end things. Like, why are breakups so hard? What is it that makes ending things so hard for people?
I think the biggest thing is just not wanting to be alone. Or just learning how to be alone. And that's very hard when you're used to that person. Like you're used to seeing that person all the time, spending time doing things that you love, and it's like all of a sudden you can't. Or for me, most of my relationships are long distance, and it doesn't make it any easier for some reason.
Because you still have that emotional support there. Even if they're not there physically, you have that emotional support there.
Or those times where it comes up and it's just like, oh, I want to call this person. You can't call them. And that's like, dang, we are like broke up, or dang, he really did like, I want to say fuck shit up. Yeah. I can't think of any other words. But it's just like if he didn't do all of that, we would still be good, And it's hard. It is very hard when you're so emotionally connected to a person. You have to relearn yourself. I think dating yourself, going back to dating yourself, is the only thing that probably kind of keep your mind off of it. Because you're still doing things that you think are fun. But then again, it might bring light to it too. But for me, it helps to just refocus on what makes me happy and what makes me full.
I definitely agree with the learning to be alone part. I think sometimes, even if you're a natural loner, when you meet a person and you start feeling okay with giving up your space, and you feel okay with letting somebody into your space on a regular basis, and you get used to that, going back to isolating, even if you like isolating, you now know like, oh, damn, I can enjoy having someone in my space. I can't enjoy like talking to someone all the time, even when you're like, no, I usually don't do that. It's hard. It's a stage. It's like ending a certain stage of your life. There's a little bit of sadness in that of like, oh dang, I definitely used to be able to just know what my Friday and Saturday nights look like. I used to like, when I had good news, like this is the person I want to tell. I think that's the hard part of like having a routine with a person, or even if it's not even necessarily a routine, but it's your first Saturday night not cuddled up, or it's the first time going back to sleeping by yourself in a long ass time. It's your first time going back to like not talking on the phone anymore. I have a girlfriend like that. Like the only persons that she talks on the phone with are her partners. Like if she's in a relationship, she'll talk on the phone. Other than that, everybody else give them texts. Like she's not talking on the phone. But I remember us having a conversation about like when she ended with a partner a couple years ago. But like for her, that was a big thing because they were together a long time. And it was like 3 months after they broke up, and she had this realization of like, I don't know the last time I talked to people. I was like, what do you mean? Because her job requires her, she doesn't have to interact with a lot of people and she does a lot of stuff on the computer. She was like, I just realized like now, since we broke up, she was like, I go days without saying a word. I go days without actually opening my mouth. And like that was a big thing for her. Just realizing like, oh shoot, without you here, I don't talk to people. I don't open my mouth to speak. And that was like a thing. So this realization of like, oh my gosh, you were the only reason I was like opening my mouth to talk. So yeah, going back to being alone, just getting back into that comfort zone, even if you like being alone, is going back to getting used to it.
Yeah, that's just the hard part. And for her to not talk at all, that's like, dang, that's something.
I definitely get in modes like that though. Not all the time because I'm a talker. I love talking. But I've definitely had moments in my life where my daughter was with like her dad or a grandparent and I go pick her up and I'm like, damn, I have not talked in like 4 days. You've never had that realization?
I never had that much time by myself.
This is true. This is very true. This is true. Yeah. We don't need to get into that, Neat. Yeah, so getting back into that, I think another hard part of that is the sexual aspect of like having one person. It's a person who knows what you like, you know what they like. When you are ready, for the most part, usually they are also ready. And going back to like that mode of like, okay, now here's the initial breakup, and now I have to find a whole new partner or partners, depending how you go about it. And then are they going to be good? First, I gotta, and then it depends how you date. If you date where you're like, first I gotta like them. Okay, I find this person, I kind of like them. And then now we're going to explore the sexual aspect. Oh gosh, this is horrible. Well, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, maybe I could teach them. I cannot teach them. All right. Well, yeah, I got to make a decision. Am I going to like it's a whole process. I actually had a recent conversation with somebody about this, the process of finding a person you like emotionally, mentally, y'all on the same wave of what y'all want in life and all this stuff, and then also being sexually compatible.
Yes. Is that even a thing for real?
Look, it's a whole thing. And me and another girlfriend were talking about this because she had brought it up. She's like, hey, do you know there are women out here who are like, just, you know what? It's fine. He's funny and it's not that bad. And she was like, and that's just how they're dating. And I was like, no, yeah, I have heard about this. And I too am concerned because I too do not feel like you should just be like, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. He makes me laugh. Like we should be able to have more. I feel like you should at least be able to have like an 80% of like, yes, this is what I want. But apparently people aren't getting that, and that's fine if that's how they want to live. So yes, apparently it's a thing and it's hard to do.
So also going to back like the sexual thing, it's just like if you're not fully over the ex and then you try new, but it's just like, but that person is still in your head. That could be a thing too. Like, so it just messes up the whole chemistry, and it's like, I can't do this. Like you don't watch. I was about to say Issa because it was one episode.
I love Issa. I just don't be watching TV no more.
Yeah, it was one episode. She was like was about to attempt to have sex with a new guy after she broke up with Warren, whatever his name is. And she just lay there and cried because he was still on her mind, and she was like, am I trying to do this again? Am I ready to do this again? My body ready to do this again? And she got all in a moment and she just stopped and just cried. So I'm just like, those situations happen too. Like you can try to get over somebody, but get up under somebody, but it don't work that way all the time.
Oh yeah. No, that's a whole other thing that needs to be discussed. Like not trying to get under somebody to get over someone. And I know that's like a saying, but it's a horrible one and it does not work. As someone who had tried that before, it does not work. You end up in Issa type situations, or not even that. You can end up in whole situations where you're just completely dissatisfied with everything and everybody. And it's not, and sometimes it's because of them, but sometimes it's not even because of them. They can have everything needed, do the job, they know the skills required, all of that. And it's just a matter you can't emotionally connect because you're not ready to. You're not ready to. And it can disengage your body to the whole act itself. And like
And
that's
your
a
body,
very real thing.
your body would definitely tell you
Your body will
this,
definitely tell you. Like,
this you're not ready.
like you're not they he can try all he wants, sis. You can tell him it's good. Tell him it's good now. It's fine. It's we've been at this for 45 minutes. Tell him to wrap it up.
It's a done. Like no, it's done.
It's okay. He probably won't even know. You come up, you give him a high five. Like, no, you did a great job. Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. Great, amazing.
Exactly.
But like, no, that is a very, very real thing. And I feel like we are told that so much. Me and her friend actually talked about this. I should have invited her to this episode. Me and her were talking about this because she was talking about how she went through a very bad and traumatic breakup, and how like the next week, like she had deleted like on social media, like I'm single, and that somebody who'd been wanting to get at her for forever saw that she was single and was like, yo, let me fly you out, blah, blah, blah. And so she went, and they were like whining and dining her. And she was like, looking back, she was like, I just traumatized him and me because I was not ready today. And she was like, there was nothing he could have done to make me have appreciate that because I was not there. I went through a very traumatic situation and I needed to sit my behind down somewhere and just be sad for a little. Yeah.
Did you put all that on somebody else? I did that too. Like somebody
Mm-hmm.
up here and trying to spend time with me. I almost accidentally called him the ex guy's name because I'm so used to that person being around, and it was just like I don't want to do this. Like, don't touch me. No, I don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought so because I knew you are. You know how that one person that you just know always gonna like you, and so and it was traumatizing for both of us.
Yeah.
And I'm not my friend anymore. So.
I have tried that before. And what ended up happening is I completely lost my sex drive. I completely lost my sex drive. And it was like the universe was like, you are abusing this. So we just gonna take it away. Okay. Because you're acting irresponsible with it. Like, and it was because I was just trying to, I was using it as like a coping mechanism. I was like trying to not think about things. I was trying to, I think, prove to myself that I was over it. I was cool. I was fine. Like a little bit of like F you. And I end up completely losing my sex drive and end up going into celibacy because I, yeah, I was just trying to use it as a way to help me get over the previous person. And it was not working. I was not getting any type of satisfaction out of it. And I was just like, nah, go harder, be more into it. And like, it did not work. End up having to sit down with myself and my thoughts and think about that. Like, hey, so why you go out here and traumatize this other person? They didn't do nothing wrong. They didn't know you hurt. Like, you need to just process. Allow yourself to be sad. And that's what I had to do. Like I had to sit and allow myself to just be sad for a while.
Yeah, and work yourself through it. Like, don't bring somebody else in that midst. Like, oh no.
Just allow myself to cry for a while and be open, honest about that. I think that was the first time I have ever been honest with you guys about like how much a situation had hurt me, a breakup had hurt me. I think I was calling you all the time, just like, I'm so hurt and I'm so sad and I'm crying all the time. And I actually remember us having a conversation where you were just like, okay, like you sound very concerned. And I remember because I remember thinking like, I think I told her too much. And she seemed very, very like, Russ, I don't know what's going on here. But I needed that moment. Like I needed to like be open and honest about like, oh, I'm hurt. This hurt my feelings. I'm sad. And I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna be sad. And like, here's the thing. No one's saying sit and be sad about it forever, but you can't bypass that sad part if what you really are is sad.
You just need to feel those emotions and be honest about it instead of trying to like cover it up. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
always gonna come back out.
It is. It is. So, okay, just like there is a stages of grief, they actually have a thing called the stages of a breakup, and it's a lot like the stages of grief. So, that first part of the stages of breaking up, they say is that hurt or pain part, where
Mm-hmm.
it just hurts. It's just painful. It's just crying.
Yeah. That's all you can say about it. It's just like really hurtful, and it's just like trying to process it. And you have the thing of being angry at yourself for wasting your time. Me, that'll be me. Angry
Hmm.
at myself for wasting my time. Angry at them for not being respectful of your time and not appreciating it. Or it's just like, and you do that. What was me situation? That's
Yeah,
just.
I agree with that. I feel like a lot of my hurt, this is gonna sound so selfish. A lot of my hurt does go back to what you're saying, like feeling dumb. Feeling
Mm-hmm.
dumb. I definitely go through a period where I'm just like, and this is what you get for trusting men. How
Mm-hmm.
how many times do you not know your father? Like just go through this whole thing of like, you already knew not to trust me and you did it anyway. And this is what you get. Like I go through this whole spiral of like all the times I should have checked out beforehand. And I go through a spiral of like, remember when this happened? And I just start connecting the dots to other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That is usually what my hurt phase is. Like me hurt, of course, about what happened, but then like being like, yeah, the pain of having hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, but you wanted to work it out. Remember he ticked you off at Thanksgiving, and you said you was done, but then he sent you some really big flowers and they were really pretty. You were like, okay, I guess I forgive him. That's when your dumb ass should have left that time. Should have took the flowers, posted an Instagram picture, and then blocked his ass and went on about your life. That's what the hell you should have done. That is my hurt phase. That is my pain phase. Like, woe is me about how stupid I am.
Yeah. I think the thing is for me, I usually do self blame before I get mad at them. So it is like you shouldn't have did this, or you knew you shouldn't have been talking to him, or you know you shouldn't have did this, you shouldn't do that, which isn't always good. But that's how I operate first, and then I start saying no, he did this or that too.
hmm I think mine is conjunction of both, though. Like, I'm definitely mad at myself for things I let slide, but it's not like out of excuse of them. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
he was doing this because he's stupid and he ain't shit, blah, 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 blah. But you should have known better. Like, that's how mine goes.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
fault with this person, but also you knew that and you was cool with it. Let's talk about why you need to do better.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
next stage.
the next stage is disbelief. Yeah, so you really just like can't believe that you're not with them, especially when you like plan out so many things in the future. Or you just thought that you guys would be for the long run. And it's just like this isn't true. We're gonna get. I think that's how you we might get back together, but you're just like
Mm,
can't
yeah.
believe this is going on. And yeah,
The
I
we
think
gonna get back together stage. Yeah.
yeah, but y'all really probably won't. So, and you have that fairy tale la like, well, maybe we should do this to get back together. Maybe we should do that, but that's not really how it works.
And let me tell you, this is why I am big on the like, once I'm done, we're done. Like, you block from
Mm-hmm.
everything stage, because like this is a stage where I feel like people are like, see, he's still watching my stories. He missed me. He loved me. And then you just kind of play in your head, and now you're posting certain pictures just to get him to like, so you can
Yes,
see that
to
he's
look at
watching,
stuff.
so he can
Right.
miss you and blah blah blah. And it's because it's like playing on this whole fantasy of like, because we're gonna get back together, I'm just gonna lead you to there. And when I say like I'm blocking, blah, 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 it's not only like a punishment to them, but like also for me to stay strong going into that, like, because I don't want to be living my best life and then checking my views and realizing you the first person that views it every single time and letting that my head wander and think on that a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm. Right, he still wants me. No, y'all just
Mhm.
going through the process together. And that's just what it is.
I mean, some of the times it can be a matter of like control, like a matter, they just want to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. We
Hmm.
ain't moving on. Yeah.
Yep. I told you. Yes, you was up here talking about how you miss me, but look at you out at the club 3 days after we broke up. That's why it's them sometimes can be just building evidence in their head about why you the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next stage is the bargaining stage, but also the anger stage. So they say the next stage is for some, it's the bargaining. This is the trying to get back together. This is the texting them at 3 a.m. So it's really fuck me, huh? Like that's the stage. This is the, just hitting them up. It's sometimes to start an argument so y'all can end up talking and talking about it and just I miss you, you don't miss me, and like whatever you're really arguing for. This is the like when you low key trying to get back together phase. This is the low key telling your girls like, yeah, I'm just going over there to pick up my stuff. Like, okay, girl, in heels and makeup. Like, why are we going over there to get our stuff at 10 o'clock in heels and makeup? Yeah. Real quickly, open the trench coat because we want to make sure
Right.
there's something under there. That's that stage. But on the other part of it, they say for other people, this is just anger. This is where you get the, FNF anthems. This is where you get this is where the girl or the guy out of nowhere who like usually just posts pictures of their car or pictures them out with their friend. All of a sudden it's 20 quotes in a row about how they don't need no man and how they the loyalest person ever and FD's like this stage right here. That's what we're going with. I don't think for me, I go so much social media. I really don't post. I'll post mostly memes, videos of my daughter, videos of me ranting about random things. For my younger years, I definitely was immature and would post crazy statuses on like Facebook. But I feel like in the last couple of years, I didn't go to anger so much as like outwardly as much as was inwardly. Like I know I'm mad. My best friend knows I'm mad. My homegirl who is taking me out for drinks tonight, they know I'm mad, but not like posting it online or anything like that. It was just more so an internal, just know I'm mad type of thing. What about you?
I think mine is internal too. Or I can do bargaining too. That could be me sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
That's because you like to have closure. You like to follow
yeah.
back up with the closure conversation.
Like where did this go? Like yeah. But my anger, I never really do it outwardly either. I never do like the Facebook stuff. I know I probably maybe when I was younger just post little song lyrics that had to do with a breakup, maybe. But it was
Mm-hmm.
never like I don't know the way clear. I think that person or my friends probably knew what the heck I was talking about. But other than that, I would get angry, but it really wouldn't be known. I know the one time when I really, really wanted that person back, I did call him and go off on him. I wanted to. How's that gonna get you back if you're going off on him? But
It
other than that,
depends.
you
It
really
has
don't
worked
do.
at times. It has worked. Like we're not gonna say that it does not work sometimes. It's not. If it works, it's probably not the best relationship for you. But it's a
Huh?
thing. I said it has definitely worked to call people and go off, and they'd be like, "I miss her." Uh,
Yeah, just stand laughing, like smelling like I really miss this toxic situation. But yeah, that's me. But it's not haven't been like everybody experienced that anger, but probably if I really liked you, I did. Like you gonna hear me be mad because I'm mad because I want you back. But yeah, and
yeah.
I
It.
know I do bargaining too, but it's the closure situation, so that's just what it is.
Yeah. I don't really remember. I have horrible memories. I don't know what I was doing. Like
Yeah, I'm
in
trying.
19, 18, 16. I'm sure I was immature. But can I
Mm-hmm.
just say, y'all who missed out on the MySpace days really missed out on like the greatest time to be petty on social media. Because I know for a fact, like I had this high school sweetheart, and I remember we would break up and make up and break up and make up. And like I used to like create layouts for like MySpace. And I was one of those people that had like 50,000 followers or friends or whatever. And he would like, we would break up one day and I would like change my whole layout. And it would be something like JoJo, a picture from her video Get Out. And that would be playing. My song would be JoJo playing Get Out. And then falling from my MySpace page would be like Single and Loving It. And on my
Yes,
top five
yes.
would be like number one would be like a op. Like I was passive aggressive.
And you took them off of your top.
I took them off the top. Like it was, oh gosh. And then you could post like little bulletin messages or whatever.
Mhm.
And I remember posting just a ridiculously immature one. I think I was like 15 years old at the time. And yeah, yeah. And then we got back together. So, he's now living his best life selling cars in Cleveland, is the last I heard.
Okay.
But yes, that's the bargaining and anger stage. Now, so after that is the depression stage.
Yeah.
And this is really
Yeah.
like,
It's just,
go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, it's just coming to realization sometimes that, it's not gonna be back together, and the depression of just think about the woulda, coulda, or shoulda, or how you thought it would be, especially when you thought that this was the one, like this it was the one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and depression, I think hit for me, just coming to realization, like, dang, I might not never be with that person again, or and you have to grieve all of the future plans that you had that's not going to happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
me personally, yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like in the depression stage, definitely is the grieving of all the future plans y'all had, or even just the fantasies you had of like what you thought this was going to be, what you thought this was going to turn into, and having to face the reality of like, and that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's he's not your person. She's not your person.
Mhm.
They are not your person. And it can be hard. This is that, your friends are worried, and this is your girl, come get out the house. We ain't seen you in a couple weeks. This is that, yeah, this is that, like, when is the last time you showered? Let's let's get you cleaned up. This is that, either eating way too much,
Mhm.
sitting in the room bed, eating ice cream, chocolate, drinking lots of wine, or eating way too less because you're just in bed crying. You get up, you go to work, and you kind of just zombify through that, and you come home, you kind of just sit and mope. That is definitely the stage. And of course, it doesn't look like that for everybody. I have definitely had this stage in breakups before, and it sucks. It sucks. I know I went through a depression stage during a breakup, and I couldn't listen to music anymore. And it really messed me up that I couldn't listen to music because like that was my thing. I love like driving and just listening to music and playing songs. And I couldn't do that anymore. And I didn't have another like coping skill in my toolbox. It kind of like set a precedent for me where I was like, I don't, this is so weird. It's okay. I'm gonna talk to my therapist about it. But I don't like sharing songs with people now because I went through this one like breakup where like me and him used to listen to music together. I'll be at his house, he would be cooking because y'all know I don't cook, and he'll be playing all this music, or we would like send each other songs, or like sometimes just me by myself riding around, listening to a song, like know I'm on my way to see him. Knowing, it was just I had a lot of connections with him in music. And so like it really fucked with me when I couldn't listen to music because almost everything reminded me of him. Like I was like picking up country albums trying to find shit that was not related. And like it created a thing for me where I was just like, nope, I'm not sharing my music with nobody else. Like we're not gonna have a song. No, no.
Mhm.
I don't want to hear a song and it reminds me of my time with you. I would like that to not be a thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I remember when
Um,
you couldn't listen to songs. Like,
yeah. And you know what really sucked about that? Is like I went through a time I couldn't listen to songs, and then I was like better, right? I was getting better, and I was listening to music a little bit at a time. Is when I started getting heavily into podcasts because I couldn't listen to music anymore. That's the only reason y'all even have a podcast, just so y'all know. Because before I created one, I went through a period where I could not listen to music, and then a friend had been trying to get me into podcasts for like 2 years before that, and I was just like, no. And then I was like, well, gotta listen to something when I'm driving, so I got into it.
so you used to listen to stand-up comedy too.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I did go through a stand-up comedy phase. I would be driving
Yes,
around
whenever I
listening
used
to
to get into
stand-up
fights,
comedy.
all we listened to.
Yeah, yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing, y'all. It was. But I had went through a period I was good, and then I would like tippy toe myself back into music. And
Mhm.
one day I was driving, and you remember? I know you remember this because I called you crying. TLC has a song called I Miss You So Much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the worst song you can listen to when you are missing somebody, when you're heartbroken or so. The lyrics go, oh, I miss you so much. I hope for your love. It scares me because my heart gets so weak that I can't even breathe. Why are you taking this so easily, baby? Why aren't you missing me? And I was just like enjoying my night. I had plans that night and was just driving, wasn't paying attention at first to like what I was listening to. And then all of a sudden, some part of the lyrics, I was like, what is this? And then I listened and I said to stop and pull over. And I broke down crying. And I called Nick and was like, I am so sad. She was like, why are you listening to that? That was your exact tone, by the way. You were like,
I was like, but why are you doing this to yourself?
And I was just like, it's good. And I was like, this is how I feel. And blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, turn it off. Like, I don't, why is it still playing in the background, Raz? And I'm like,
it was playing in the background when you was talking to me.
Because I was on the side of the road in the rain crying, okay? I had never cried on the side of the road before. It was my first time. I didn't know how to handle it.
Oh my goodness. I was like, girl.
But it was weird too, because like before then I had like stopped listening to a lot of music because of like that situation. But it wasn't like they made me sad or cry. They made me angry. So that was like the first time a song like, made me sad and be like, oh, I'm hurt from this situation. And not just like, mad. I can't even listen to Jodeci because of him anymore. Like it was the first time there was a song and I was like, oh no, baby, this is sadness. You are sad. Time to be sad now. You can't go out. It's not hot girl summer no more. Go home and wipe up your makeup and cry. Yeah, so anyways, that is that phase.
Yeah, that phase. I think that phase is like I went through that phase, but I tried to act like I wasn't going through it. And so I think that's when I had got into a rebound situation. So I was trying to act like I was okay, but I really wasn't. And that's not a safe thing to do either. Going back to your friend that went to go see that person, because it can harm you and the person, but even more so yourself. Like you have to deal with this depression, or you have to sit in that. I really wasn't trying to sit in it. So it always came back to bite me like, no, you still ain't get over that situation. So you're not going to be able to move on to anything healthy.
And here's the thing, another person is never going to be the cure to your depression.
Exactly.
They might be a band-aid. They are not the cure though. There is something within you that you got to get to the bottom of first.
You gotta sit in that, yeah. So, but the depression of it is real. That's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. So what's the last stage, Neat?
The last stage is self-reflection.
Yeah.
Now we kind of touched on this through all of them, but it's just reflecting on what you did in that relationship, good and bad. What that person did, good and bad, is like what you want in a future relationship, what you're not gonna settle for, and just I think reflecting on yourself, learning yourself more, what makes you happy, just trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't, and be honest with yourself in those decisions and choices. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this is that phase of, okay, what can I learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if it's not a conscious decision to sit there and think what I can learn, that's just that, you know, when you're thinking about that, you know what, I'm just not gonna date Aquarius men no more. That's that phase. Like, what did you take away from that? You know what?
For me, that would be Aries, but
yeah, girl, air signs in general. Air signs in general. So like the universe is like, go find you a nice water sign male, okay? And chill out. But yeah, that's that phase of like, what can I take from that? That can be, you know what? From now on, I'm gonna state my intentions of what I want right away. And if they got a problem with it, then they just not for me. And that's just how I'm gonna move on. This can even be that I know for me during the breakup I had that like really hurt me. I know when I went through my self-reflection phase, it changed the way I looked at dating, where I realized like I can't do casual relationships anymore. And up until that point, I was like cool with like not having emotions. But when I went through my self-reflection phase, I was like, you know what? I realized that when I do allow myself to attach to people, and I do allow feelings to get involved, and I do allow myself to feel and feel without walls blocking and bricks, show up authentically and love authentically
Mm-hmm.
to the best of my ability, whatever level I'm in at that moment. That I really, really like that. And I don't think I can go back to superficial interactions anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what came from that particular breakup. So even though it was like bad, horrible, I will say I did have to go through that situation. Like I learned so much, and walking away from that situation was beneficial to my emotional growth. I kind of understand why that person had to come into my life, because I did emotionally maturing in a way that I didn't even think I wanted ever.
Yeah. Yeah. You did learn a lot from it, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to
I
it
mean, it's
again.
still fuck him. It's still fuck him and everyone associated with him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I did walk away from that. Like, yeah, learning a lot, and it was a big growth, and it was a big like, yeah, it was a big Saturn return moment. It was, they were all tied in together. If I had knew more about astrology at the time, I would have known better, but I didn't. And it's fine. It's fine. So, okay, those are the 5 stages of breaking up, but how do we move on? And we talked a little bit about this in some of this, but to me, some of the biggest things to moving on is one, unfollow. Unfollow. Don't get a burner account. Don't have your home girl check out whose pictures he's liking, who's the girl whose name's under the comment, who that is keeping you still tied to them and still attached to them. And I know there are some people that are like, no, I can still follow them and it's not a big thing, blah, blah, blah. And maybe not. And I think you can get to a point where it's not a big thing. For a lot of people, they can like follow exes and it's not a big thing once they get to that point. But when you're fresh out of a breakup that hurt, unfollow.
Yeah.
You're gonna be too tempted to check in and to hurt your own feelings, to be honest.
Especially when they start moving on. It's just like it's just too much. That's just not worth
Hmm.
it at all.
And don't let there be cheating involved. Girl, guy, unfollow. Do not go to that man's page. Do not go to that female's page. Do not screenshot her and be like, this y'all for real. Don't put her in a group chat. You're just gonna hurt yourself. It's gonna make it harder to move on. It's gonna make it more painful to move on. Unfollow. Disconnect.
Hmm.
Give yourself some space to heal.
The next one is eliminate triggers. So just getting rid of things that remind you of him. Like
Mm-hmm.
going back to even though you missed listening to music, but that was a trigger. So you learned like, oh, that's a trigger for me. Let's not do that. And,
Mm-hmm.
and find other coping mechanisms or find other ways to entertain yourself.
Yeah. Well, also with eliminating triggers, that can be like the teddy bear he gave you that you sleep with every night. Like,
Yeah.
girl,
Like
if
get
you
rid of
if you don't
everything.
put that teddy bear to Goodwill, give it to a
Uh-huh.
niece or nephew, and maybe you want to keep it. That's fine. Maybe it's a really nice teddy bear, but maybe put it up in a closet for a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not sleep in his tea every night. The things that you know that are going to trigger you.
Now put up the pictures that you guys have together.
Right, right. You
Delete them
don't
all.
necessarily have to tear them and burn them, all of that. I think that's great in releasing, but you don't have to. But maybe put them away. Don't keep looking at them on your desk, in your office, on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing to help you move on is going back to rediscovering yourself and what being you and being you single is like. Maybe when you were dating, you love opera, but he didn't really like the opera, so you didn't go as much. Start going back to the opera, girl.
Or he didn't never want to travel with you. Start taking those trips that you couldn't take with him. Start
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
rediscovering what makes you happy.
And another one I would say, especially for my men and women who are serial monogamous, if you never really had a chance to be single, allow yourself to be single for a bit. You are probably a whole different person than who you are in a relationship. And you might find out that when you are in a relationship, that's not even who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be why breaking up is so hard to do, because you leaving a whole identity behind. That has more to do with
Nobody wants.
codependency. We'll talk about that eventually.
Yeah, we need codependency.
But yeah, go take some time to rediscover you, rediscover the things that you like, the things that you like doing, do all the things that you couldn't do while you were in that relationship. And not only the things that you couldn't do, but maybe the things that you were scared to do.
Mm-hmm. And the last one is self compassion. Just having compassion for yourself and being gentle to yourself. Understanding you can get through this and don't, like I said earlier, like just putting myself at fault and just having compassion and peace and knowing like it's okay, girl.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna get through this. Just loving yourself and just being that voice that you need or that friend that you need for yourself.
Yeah. Don't get too caught up on what you should have done, how you should have done it, when you should have done it differently. You know what? You did what you did, and now what can we learn from that? And not only that, this is also stop beating yourself up for not being over it yet.
Mm-hmm.
You were in love and you were happy, and maybe you're the reason why it broke up. Maybe you did something wrong. Still be compassionate with yourself. You are still learning. You are not perfect. It's okay. You can take accountability and still provide yourself with some compassion as well. As I fucked up. I should not have done that. I was in the wrong. Maybe you do hope they forgive you. Maybe you do hope that, one day things can be figured out. But also at that same time, you can take accountability without constantly putting yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability is not for banishing yourself, punishing yourself. Accountability is for accepting responsibility in your actions that you play. And once you accept those responsibilities, trying to figure out how you can be better, do better next time. But you don't have to be mean to yourself. You don't have to punish yourself constantly. You can take accountability and simply learn from it and then do better next time. But don't put yourself in some like eternal back and forth of like, oh, I should have done better. I should have been better, blah, blah, blah. You were what you were at that time.
And that's just what it is.
It is what it is. Grow from it. That's how you get better, by growing from it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the biggest questions that comes up when people are talking about breakups is, okay, but when will I get over it? Do you ever get over it? And I think this is one of those questions that each individual person has to answer for themselves, depending on each individual relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There are some breakups I know, me personally, I have gotten over the minute I was like, all right, well, nice life. And that's the last time I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other breakups where, like, every now and then I get a flashback. So I think it just really depends. And I think it's really a personal thing. I know I do have friends who had breakups that happened over 5 years ago that they are still not over.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends who also have breakups that happened like 25 minutes ago and they're already on Tinder. So it just depends. And another thing I want to say is I don't even think it necessarily means that you love this person more or not if it took you longer to get over this person or that person wasn't important for you because you could walk away from it easier. I think different relationships trigger different things out of you. And sometimes you can love a person more than you ever loved before. And because of that love, you're able to recognize, like, this isn't it. We love each other, but this isn't it. And we have to walk away. And you can be dating 2, 3 months from now. It doesn't mean that you love them any less.
Time is your time.
And meanwhile, you could have had a horrible relationship. Horrible. And it might still trigger you 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You might still get a whole attitude every time you hear the name Steven. And it was horrible. It's not because you necessarily love them more or anything like that. Sometimes it's just a matter of that situation gave me PTSD. That situation hurt me a lot. That situation changed the way I looked at things. And so I just get really mad over it. Human relationships are complex. And I don't think there's any way you can get a time frame on healing. And that's what we're doing. We're talking about getting over breakups. You're healing from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's like a time frame to get over it. It took me years to get over one person, but then other people, I'm like, Yeah, I'm finally free. So it's just like, and even the traumatic ones, you still have those triggers where you think you're over it, but then you can't even allow anybody else in because you still have moments of that bad relationship that rubbed off on you. And because some
Mm-hmm.
relationships kind of can change you for a negative way. So it's just knowing when your time is and understanding that. And it's okay if you're not over it. Just being honest with yourself throughout that process.
Yes, I love that. I love it. Yeah, so that is our breakup episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. Definitely head over to the Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. Share with us some of your breakup tips, some of your breakup stories as well. As always, we'll have a new episode for you guys every Thursday. Be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you are listening to us over there. And other than that, you'll hear the sound of a voice again next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.